5-inch and large size figures box. The rest are marks. Or marks copies. Then I'll set these up into a pleasant formation. Alright, cool. So, primary colored are all vintage MPC Spaceman figures dating from 1963 through 1972. I'm not sure when they stopped making them. I know I had a set when I was a kid, or at least a couple, 3. And I would have been 4 in 1971. So that's being generous on it. And now we're seeing here that sure enough, I did have examples of this pose here with his sadly broken gun, which is why I didn't recognize it. Ones I have, their guns are complete, and I had confused it with the revolver style on that pose. So he can be painted. And then, interestingly, I don't have one of this pose yet as a vintage piece, so he's going to get saved as is. And then there's Brian Peppers in space. So there's the complete set, or complete mold shot, a representation of the complete mold shot of 10 figures by MPC, multiple Toymakers, first marketed 1962, 1963. I've seen both dates. I've seen 1964 as well, so sing out if you know the difference. But these then are all, they're not extras, but they're all duplicates, and figure out which ones to preserve. For instance, this guy here, he looks kind of more recent or more modern than this one. This would be my pick of the vault group that are kept in their state, and we're going to keep this one that I call the Major Tom pose. He's my vault position there with the intact pistol and matched helmet. I want little Jasper, my friend's. He's now he's going to be 1.5 this summer. So he's still got a couple of years before he can have one. Age 3 and up means age 3 and up. But I want him to have a set of MPC 5-inchers and maybe some Mark 6-inchers as soon as he can. But this evening I'm going to delve into divvying up the equipment. Everything in the bag is vintage MPC equipment. Everything in here is the recast stuff. And I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 helmets. So there's going to be helmets, and then I'll have to figure out how many helmets I need for the guys that are getting painted. The ones that didn't come with a helmet should all have one, so that they can be in space settings together and figure out who gets what pieces of equipment so that these guys are equipped, and then we'll use what's left to adorn figures that are being painted for other purposes. Well, now he looks like Brian Peppers with a space helmet on. I guess that's an improvement. And I gave him one of the vintage, the sole vintage one I had that was silver, because the recast helmets aren't that flexible, and I don't want to have a fracture. But they're all the vintage pieces now with a helmet. He got one of the chinless ones because it didn't seem to be going over well, and I didn't want to bork up his nose, but he looks like one of the bikers from Every Which Way But Loose now, rather than a spaceman, so I'm going to have to think about that. And this guy doesn't look like he's ever been played with, so he got the helmet that's also never been played with. We're just going to keep it like that for now. Yeah, so these look kind of cool with the rifle like that. But I'm, as I'm giving figures these pieces, it's like, what makes logical sense? And I know that the figures didn't come with like specific accessories that they were meant to have. They were all just sort of joined together on the mold sprue, and so like there's no right way to have this pose equipped, for instance. It's just a matter of, well, what's, or at least in my opinion, what's practical for it. I mean, they all should have a piece of equipment or two. This guy here with the rangefinder and the tricorder pack and his busted pistol and a helmet, he's pretty much set. I wouldn't want to put anything else with. I might try to put a pack on him or an oxygen tank, but that would be it. I don't even know if these guys need an oxygen tank. I just think it looks great with the firepower there, and he's already got his pistol. Fun. Yeah, there we go. Looking a little bit less like one of the bikers from Every Which Way But Loose. I'm giving this guy a recast helmet too, so that this one can just remain unused for the rest of time. I've got a unused, brand new, multiple Toymaker 5-inch Spaceman helmet. Never used. How about that? Huh? Come on over and see my Spaceman sometime, Mary. Alright, so here are my vintage 5-inch MPC Spacemen with the equipment from the recast bundle divvied up amongst them. On the top row, starting with those two on the left, which are recasts. These 10 figures represent the 10 poses from the original molds. So I still have 2 more poses to find in the original casting type, always indicated by a softer plastic, usually in primary colors and white and silver. The recasts are in that filing cabinet gray, and there's plenty of helmets yet to go around, so we're still looking for a couple.